Hello everyone. The following presentation is a brief summary and analysis of Chapter 12 of Oscar Wilde's novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. Almost 18 years have passed since the previous chapter, and Dorian is approaching his 38th birthday. Dorian is walking home from an event spent with Lord Henry. It is quite interesting to note that after all these years, Dorian is still spending much of his time with Lord Henry. Dorian happens to see Basil Hallward in the street, but he pretends that he hasn't seen Basil. Basil soon catches up to Dorian and tells him that he has been waiting for his return all evening. Basil wants to say his goodbyes to Dorian because he has decided to go and spend a few months in Paris. The large jump in time from the previous chapter, along with Dorian's avoidance of Basil, clearly shows the massive changes that have occurred within Dorian's life. It could be suggested that his avoidance of Basil might be due to Dorian's feelings of guilt or shame, or perhaps an avoidance of reality and the truth. Dorian reluctantly invites Basil inside, but on the condition that Basil promises not to talk about serious issues. Despite Dorian's request, Basil insists on discussing a particularly concerning matter: the scandals associated with Dorian Gray. Dorian sulks and doesn't want to hear about the scandals associated with his name. Basil is adamant that Dorian should be concerned about matters relative to his reputation because his reputation has become terribly damaged. Basil says that at first he refused to believe the terrible things people were saying about Dorian, but it has got to a point now where the evidence against Dorian is overwhelming, and Basil can no longer defend Dorian's reputation. Basil lists the accusations against Dorian and all of the people whose reputations have been ruined because of Dorian's actions. Dorian's reluctance to discuss serious matters shows his avoidance of reality and just how shallow he is by keeping everything at a surface level. It can be said that because Basil is genuinely concerned about Dorian's reputation, that he proves himself to be a true friend to Dorian. Dorian's change from the once innocent and charming young man to being destructive and damaging is evident at this point in the novel. Dorian rejects Basil's claim that he has ruined his friends' and acquaintances' reputations. He says, in fact, it is these people's own scandalous ways that make them no longer want to associate with Dorian, and that they themselves have ruined their reputations. Basil implores or begs Dorian to use his charming personality to do good instead of taking advantage of people. We are not given specific details in the novel, but the list of Dorian's awful deeds is unending, including the damage of Lord Henry's sister's reputation. Basil makes a statement that for a moment triggers Dorian at his core. Basil says that in order to know who Dorian really is now, he would need to have a glimpse at Dorian's soul. We can understand why Dorian goes pale in response to these words. We know that the representation of Dorian's soul is in the painting. Feeling a twisted need to reveal the truth behind his perfect facade and to see Basil's reaction, Dorian impulsively decides to show Basil the portrait. This sudden decision to reveal the painting to Basil could stem from a combination of pride, guilt, and a desire to test the limits of his secrecy. This moment shows that Dorian has given in to his vanity and corruption, as he can no longer keep this monstrous secret completely hidden. Thank you for watching this presentation on Chapter 12 of The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Keep an eye out for summaries and analyses of the rest of the novel.